What's up, Browns fans? Welcome to the Dawgs podcast. Let's kick this thing off.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Renneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs. Our Cleveland Browns played in game of the year last night, not just for the Browns, but, probably in the NFL, maybe a game of the last 5 years. I know it didn't go the way we wanted to, but we showed a lot of good things, a lot of promise in that game. And I know all of us here at the Dawgs are actually really excited going forward with this Browns team. Before we dive into that, obviously, you got to tell you about where to check us out. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you're on Facebook, why don't you do us a favor? Go check out Schwen Sports. We post a lot of our stuff in there. It's a great sports group. A lot of fans from local teams, Browns teams. There's some AFC North fans in there, a lot of smack talk. It's a super fun group. We're happy they let us post stuff in there, so go check out Schwen Sports on Facebook. If you haven't had a chance yet, check out our friends at Thrive Fantasy. Make sure you use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, to get your 100% match on a deposit of up to $50 when you spend $20 or more. So make sure you use that promo code. Get your free money. Nothing's more fun than playing with free money.
No, and go get your fantasy fix because another week of the playoffs and fantasy down, and I'm sure a lot of people are out.
Yeah, last night wasn't just that final drive for the Ravens didn't just hurt the Browns. It ended my fantasy season with Mark Andrews catching every ball in the final drive. So I'm going to be on Thrive Fantasy this week.
Well, I was on Thrive last night for the Browns-Ravens, just playing that matchup, the over-unders and everything, and I was so close. It was the game I was playing was a payout to the top 25, and I was 29.
Ugh. I missed getting paid last week by 10 points. It was frustrating. But I'm going to go back and play again. So, yeah, make sure you guys check that out.
If Jarvis gets 10 more yards, I'm good.
So, obviously, we got a huge game to dive into. Last night was maybe the biggest game in the last 20 years for the Browns. It really sucks that it couldn't be a packed house because I think Cleveland would have been absolutely insane last night. I think it could have affected the game because I don't know if they wouldn't have been able to call plays in the huddle.
No, and I heard multiple analysts today, different shows, whatever I was watching, would say it was one of the best football games, NFL games in recent memory.
Yep.
These aren't Browns fans. These aren't Ravens fans. These are just national NFL analysts saying that game was a game.
Yeah, it felt like a playoff game, playoff atmosphere, the way they kept going back and forth. And usually the Browns have a game like that, but it's like 1-3 Browns against 1-12 team. We were never in a tight game like that with a winning team, division game. It definitely had you on the edge of your seat the entire time.
I thought Ryan Clark said it best last night on Twitter when he said there was a game in December between two AFC North teams that had playoff implications, a playoff atmosphere, and one of those teams wasn't the Steelers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When was the last time you saw two AFC North rivals in a game that mattered, and it was an awesome game, and it was the game everybody around the league was talking about, and it wasn't Ravens-Steelers. This was Ravens-Browns.
Never.
We're freaking back.
Maybe Cincinnati with Andy Dalton back in the day.
I guess maybe you could count Baltimore, Cleveland to try to get Pittsburgh into the playoffs a few years ago.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with us. But.
You know what I mean? Like how? So just some opening thoughts about the game. Right after Tucker kicked that field goal last night, I was very salty. I was in a bad mood at work for about 20 minutes, saying words I can't say on this podcast. I was an angry person. And then I just started thinking, I got online. Hopefully my boss isn't watching. I was looking some Twitter stuff. And I'm like, how cool was it that the Browns just played in a game in December with this magnitude? And online, it's the only game people can talk about. Patrick Mahomes is tweeting about our game, and I've never experienced anything like this for the Browns, at least not late in the season.
Oh, so hold on real quick. A little detour there about people tweeting. Okay, I was upset last night. LeBron James popping on there talking about
Dallas
Cleveland.
fan.
Yeah, get out of here.
I did see that.
Get out of here, LeBron talking about the Browns. He showed it to a Browns-Cowboys game and Cowboys stuff on their sideline. So I saw that. That made me mad last night. Sorry.
Blake, I was on the opposite end of that. Like, you said you were, completely, upset. I was not. And for some weird reason, and we kind of talked about it, we watched this team absolutely dominate us, destroy us, make us not look like we should even be on the same field with them. And for the first time, I would say since they came back, we stood toe-to-toe with a dominant AFC North powerhouse team. And I'm not worried about it. Everybody except for the Chiefs. I think nobody touches the Chiefs, but if, let's say Browns playoffs, I'd like to see those teams again. I want to see the Titans. I want to see the Steelers.
I know a lot of people, the Ravens have been on a skid lately or whatever. They're probably going to finish 11-5.
Yeah.
They should win out. I looked at their schedule last night.
We were the toughest game they had left. They're going to finish 11-5 probably. We're going to finish, I would hope at worst 11-5.
Yep.
If not, if we beat the Steelers 12-4, there's a chance that there's going to be 3 teams in the AFC North all with 11 wins or more, which is crazy. So for people, I feel like some people undersold our Titans win a little bit last week for some reason, even though the Titans were the talk of the town coming into that game. You can't undersell this. I know we lost, but you can take things away from a loss, and there's no moral victories in the NFL. And if you're the players, you want to hear them talk about moral victories. But it's us as fans.
Oh, there's moral victories, baby.
Yeah,
there's got to be something.
This team ran us off the field 3 months ago. I mean, we looked like we didn't even belong with them. And last night we gave them all they could handle and some. And if we just had a defense, we win that game.
No kidding. And at one point last night, Blake, you texted the group here and said, Baker, what would you say? This is the career-defining drive. And I said, I think he's had 3 of those tonight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And every single one of those career-defining drives, he executed almost flawlessly.
Yeah. There's a couple guys that did. I told him I thought Kareem Hunt had he's been playing well, but I thought Kareem Hunt kind of showed that he, for the first time in a little bit, he
Some
kind of
energy.
And hey, I'm going to put my shoulder down and absolutely bulldoze guys. And good luck. Have fun.
I recorded the game and was watching it this morning, and there was a play where Kareem Hunt ran up the middle, kind of hurdled somebody, came down, and just lowered the boom on somebody in the secondary, and I was like...
Was it the safety that came up?
Yeah. And then he stood up and was just shrugged him off like he was a man. I was like, I freaking love this guy.
Yeah.
It's so weird that I have pride in my Cleveland Browns again. It feels so good. And I've never felt this way after a loss. I told you guys I feel better today after this loss than I did after our win against Jacksonville.
Well, yeah, because Jacksonville was that, subpar opponent that we got out of that game with a win, but it didn't feel great because they made it a close game when they really
might have been more questions than answers.
Right.
I feel like we learned more about our team last night in a loss than we did against Jacksonville in a win. I came out of Jacksonville going, I was still down on Baker a little bit. That's completely changed. I mean, he's put that to bed for me, and I'm so happy I can say that because I know it might not have seemed like it on this show, but I've been a huge Baker fan ever since he got drafted. I just needed him to do it against a good team in a big moment, when it mattered. And we scored 42 last night against a good defense. He didn't lose that game. He's one of the reason we were in that game.
I mean, we had 33 first downs as a team last night.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing, we can kind of penalties. We had too many penalties
Again.
But so did the Ravens. So, is that, that they were just like, hey, we're not letting this thing kind of get out of hand.
I texted him this morning, said maybe the officials just suck.
Yeah, they were garbage.
Because both teams had a ton of penalties.
There were some really...
Thank goodness that you can challenge too many men on the field. They had 15. They could have missed 3 guys on that
still
had 12 and still been able to throw the flag.
Yeah, did you see on the broadcast they were highlighting on the film, they said, 11, 12, 13, 14, then they went to click the 15 and it went back to 1 and they're like, I can't even go to 15.
How does that get missed?
I have no idea.
Dude, I don't know.
And if that's when NFL is so weird on things you can challenge now, if I would have been livid at that because I mean that was a huge play and huge time in the game.
15 freaking guys on the field. That is unbelievable that it doesn't get. I mean, you couldn't look around and be like, hey, there's a lot of guys over there. Man, there's a ton of guys over there too. Wait, something's not adding up.
Every tight end on the roster is out here on the field right now.
And we almost got him again. Baker, they talked about that on the game that they almost got Calais Campbell
running off the field.
And Baker's yelling turbo one. And some of these timeouts, I mean, I wish that they had a camera on the coach lined up of when these timeouts are called. You see it all the time of like, the play clock hit 0, and then the crew chief comes out and like, oh no, timeout, offense. And like, he didn't call a timeout. You're just like letting him be like, oh, okay, you waste your timeout, we'll take the penalty away, type of a thing.
Yep.
All right, so we are all pretty happy about the way this game went, despite the loss. I kind of want to end the show on a high note, so we'll come back to the good stuff. Obviously, there's some bad stuff in this game. We gave up, 47 points or 45 points if you don't count the. That's
Safety,
only in Cleveland, though. Does the game end in a safety like that? I know we're trying to get away from that only in Cleveland stigma, but it is so Cleveland for it to end in a safety like that. That's hilarious.
If you're a betting man out there, what a bad beat.
Yeah,
I know
no kidding
about that. Yeah.
SVP had to re-record the skit or whatnot that they already had like done for that segment. So it was like an extra long commercial, and he said, well, we had to throw that out.
It was terrible, but not as terrible as our defense. So let's get into some of the negative because I know we're all, we competed, but this defense is trash. And I know we had a ton of guys out, and we're playing shorthanded. I understand that. But we don't – those guys who are playing, with the exception of Stewart, because I don't know who he is, they're still NFL players.
Right.
We should still be able to do something. And I thought the game plan looked awful.
I completely agree.
Do we not know that Lamar Jackson's kind of a run-first quarterback, essentially a run-only quarterback? He had 80 yards passing going into the final 2 minutes of the game. He was 3 of 6 at halftime.
At one point, he had been sacked, I believe, 3 or 4 times, and he had completed 2 passes. And that was almost halftime.
This game almost ended. If it's not for that 2-minute drive at the end, this game would have ended with him having more rush yards and passing yards. And we kept playing man coverage where our DBs are turning their backs to the quarterback, running with these receivers downfield, and he's just taking off running. At what point do we make an adjustment?
Well, we don't, because we never did.
In our D line, getting out of the passing, I thought our D line, I think finished with 5 sacks. Mm-hmm. Olivier Vernon's been playing really well for us lately.
Yes,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
If he continues this and he's willing to take a decent deal, I'm bringing him back next year the way he's playing down the stretch. But we're getting out of our rush lanes against Lamar Jackson. Your goal is not to get to the quarterback every time. It's a contained rush. You got to rush in your lanes. That way he has to stay in the pocket. If you have one guy rush wide and then the other guy spin moves 2 gaps to the inside, all you're doing is opening up a huge running lane for this guy who doesn't want to throw it, because I watched this guy miss wide open throws that every NFL quarterback should make last night, and he can't do it. Ravens fans, say what you want about how Superman he was last night. He can't freaking throw.
And he thinks he's Superman too. And that's he drives me nuts.
And if I was a Ravens fan, I wouldn't want him to throw the football, because I would be thinking right now, okay, hey, I know we tried to say he led the league in passing touchdowns last year and all kinds of stuff, but I'd be like, hey, I don't want Lamar to throw because he's so dangerous when he's running.
Best running back in the league.
And nobody can catch him. And I agree with a lot of the things people, on sports radio and ESPN. There's nobody in the NFL that can do what he can do when he's running the football.
Yes, I completely agree.
But I'm going to tell you guys right now, and hopefully there's some Ravens fans listening, because you got to hear this. They're never going to win a Super Bowl with him. I'm sorry, but that team, and this is going to be a short-lived window for Lamar Jackson, his domination with his legs in the NFL, because you're not going to do this forever. And when you can't throw the ball to offset, anyone game planning for your running, dude, this team's not going to go anywhere.
Well, and we talked about this. It's already kind of happening. Coming into this game, their offense has not been nearly as explosive.
No.
And they got lucky that they ran into a Browns team that has a trash defense, and on top of that trash defense was missing half their starters.
Well, and that trash defense has a D coordinator that does not make any adjustments or just keeps running man coverage nonstop.
Marquise Brown, he played for the Browns defense a little bit last night.
Yeah, no kidding.
He was just like, hey, I'm just not going to catch any of these passes. I think, what do you have, 4 or 5 drops? I think they said in that game.
Drops.
Bad ones.
Wide open in his hands. I'm like, this guy is not very good.
Well, you look at his fantasy numbers and you're like, oh, hey, he scored a touchdown, and it was that 4th and 5.
Yes.
That was it.
40-something yard catch.
Yeah, he was bad. I don't understand the defense. obviously in this offseason, we need another corner, if not two. We need a linebacker. Yeah. We need a linebackers. Alabama's got to have about 4 or 5. We should be able to get one of them. We need – hopefully Delpit comes back healthy, and hopefully he's the guy we want him to be. Because we need a playmaker in that secondary. And we need Hospital Ward to stay on the field. It's just – and we need a linebacker. I feel like the D-line looks like they get gashed because – there's no linebackers filling holes. The D line you can only fill one hole at a time. It's on the linebackers to come up and make a play, and we don't have any of that. We don't have a game changing player other than Myles Garrett on that defense. And Myles Garrett plays at the end of the line where they can double and triple team him, and apparently they can hold him. They can put their hands up in his face mask. They can do whatever they want to him because it's never getting called.
No.
Yep.
That dude gets held on every single play.
It's crazy.
He does.
Every single play he gets held, and they call it when they feel like it.
Yep. I was just watching the game last night too and thinking, and it was funny because before we started, you had mentioned something about Greedy and Denzel, and what we need in the offseason. I'm thinking we don't just need like a corner; we're going to need a couple, I think, because these guys are never on the field ever.
Greedy, I don't know, but Greedy might be done.
Yeah, he's got nerve damage.
Yeah.
And I did see Stefanski in his press conferences going into this week, after, so it was like today, said that he wasn't ruling out Greedy for the rest of the season. He kept pushing back, like he's not ruling him out for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Give us a timetable. Don't be like, I'm not going to rule it. We're not going to rule him out for the rest of the year. Well, hey, there's only 3 games left in the
Matt Rule's been doing that with CMC all year, too. Like, he's got a chance to get out there and put a jersey on. We'll see if he can walk out there. But we'll find out here on Thursday,
Yeah, so it's
frustrating, too, because you're watching the game and you know what's happening. Like, I had to work last night, so obviously I'm also probably going to get fired because I'm checking my phone every 2 seconds. And I watched the game this morning, and I know what's going to happen, and it's gutting because you know what's going to happen. You can't stop. Even I told him, I said, if Harrison is out there, I think if Denzel's out there, I have a lot better chances. But man, even Harrison, he shut down Deshaun Watson, and we had no answer. And even coming out of the halftime, it's like, hey, we contained him a little bit, and they just left open this huge gash on the left side, and he takes it for, 45 yards or something like that.
Make him throw the ball. And I know it's easier said than done because, he's one of the best athletes.
He doesn't want to throw the ball, first off.
Yes.
He's always looking, where do I go to get out of this pocket and get moving?
And he's one of the best runners, I've ever seen with the football.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Braxton Miller at Ohio State when he played quarterback. But keep him in the pocket at least sometimes. Get a couple stops. We scored 42 points, and we couldn't get a stop. Imagine if we get a couple stops and we would have had 2 or 3 more possessions. We might have put 60 up.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't stop us either.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating because we had to play this guy twice a year. So at some point, we got to freaking figure it out.
Yeah, and what's really frustrating is it wasn't like just Lamar ripped us up this game and, the defense had been playing well. This defense has been garbage all year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is like recency bias or anything like that, but I'm really trying hard to think. And we've had some pretty crappy Browns defenses in our recent, history, and I'm sure, we all remember. This might be the worst. Our D-line is... We've got some players, but man, is this
normally it's
bad.
what we are like, man, at least we have an okay defense.
Yeah. It's either one or the other. We have a subpar offense or a subpar defense. We've never been able to put both of them, even an average both, out there. My entire life. Yeah. But this is very bad. It's been very bad all year.
But everybody they can do exactly what they want to do to us.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon diced us up a couple weeks ago, and didn't he just get benched?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this guy...
your boy Gardner's back.
Yeah. So, Mike Glennon 3 weeks ago comes out and looks like the savior of the franchise against us, and he gets benched 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Everybody who plays us is comfortable. It's like they're playing 7-on-7. Everybody's wide open. It's scripted. Oh, this guy's supposed to be open, and he is open. They never have to They never have to make adjustments. It's so frustrating. Like, who the hell is Stewart?
Dude, he was. I know
He's awful. I said the same thing. I looked at my wife and I'm like, it was that first play where they threw to him and he tackled the guy about 2 seconds too early. I literally looked at my wife and I was like, who the hell is this guy?
I'm
This
pretty
is
sure he
awful.
was just off the practice squad. I'm pretty sure that we just brought him off the practice
I never
squad.
even heard of him.
2 quick
But-
penalties. You're going to hear about him real quick.
Yeah.
And we're talking, Lamar, he was able to do whatever he wanted. And he's not the only one. Dobbins looked good, averaged 4 yards a carry. Gus Edwards, every time he touched the ball, I thought he was taking it to the house.
He looked great.
I think okay, they have Ingram who didn't play, and then they have Dobbins. I love J.K. Dobbins, but Gus Edwards is an NFL running back. That guy is huge. Yep. I mean, he's just as big as Derrick Henry. He just doesn't, maul people over like Henry does. But he
was mauling us last night.
J.K. Dobbins is their best running back. Quit showing your Ohio State hatred.
No, I think
Quit
Gus
showing
Edwards.
your Ohio State hatred.
Gus Edwards is the best running back in Baltimore.
I disagree. They
I'll
even said it
I'll
last
stick
night
with
that
it.
they said J.K. Dobbins is their most explosive running back.
I thought Gus Edwards was their best running back for a couple years now.
Yeah, I think Gus and they just wouldn't give him the ball enough.
Right.
The guy can only average 7 or 8 yards a carry, but he gets 6 a game. And they're like, and then Dobbins gets 13 carries. Well, imagine what Edwards would do with those numbers.
Yeah. Talking about Glennon a couple weeks ago, last week, the only reason that Derrick Henry did not just pummel us was because our offense
Was up
didn't
so
let him.
took
It
him
was
out
not
of the
that our defense, our defense didn't take him out of the game. Our
plan.
offense did.
Yep.
But look what Tannehill did. In that second half, it was obviously most teams, when you put them in obvious passing situations, you make them one-dimensional. Your D-line can start teeing off. Your secondary starts pressing because they know they got to go downfield.
Yeah, sure. And the passes are more like 6 yards, 10 yards, short dink and dunks, because that's what we're going to give them the underneath.
Yep. And you start
not
getting
the Browns.
sacks.
Not in Cleveland. Oh, no.
You start getting sacks. The quarterback, he is looking scared because the D-line's not worried about the run at all.
Yep.
Against the Titans, they weren't worried. I mean, if that game was 4 minutes longer, we might have lost that game.
Yeah.
Because they were scoring chunk plays. And it's the same thing here. And I know that we were banged up, but Joe Woods, I said this, a month or two ago? I said, is it our players or is it our scheme?
Absolutely.
Because Johnson, Sendejo, these guys were good players before they came to Cleveland. And all of a sudden, they look like they don't belong on a football field. So are we not?
I just keep seeing Terrence Mitchell, too, just getting burned.
And Terrence Mitchell has always played well
Yes.
for the Browns.
Yes.
Well, and it
Always played well
It was
for the
that
Browns.
last touchdown pass to Marquise Brown, right?
Yep. Yep.
What's happening out here?
Well,
I was
that one.
Lamar
I'll-
attacks the line like he's going to run, so everybody starts
had
to
to
come up
come
to stop
up.
the run. And then
okay, but so he runs a little bit. Big deal.
So see-
we're trying to win the game. We're trying to.
So see,
You know what I
that right there was like, it's okay to give up that first down because giving up the first down isn't giving up points.
You can't let a receiver just run free.
Right.
down the
Like
middle of the field.
Lamar, if he runs that, he's getting the first down, probably 10, 15 yards easily.
But that's not 6 points.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's where that, you got it, but you got to stay at home. You got to stay with your guy. I get it. If they give up, but that's really not your responsibility. Your responsibility is not giving up that touchdown to Hollywood Brown.
Do your job.
But the thing that I didn't like on that play, so 4th and 4, he comes back in the game, and our defense, we blitzed everybody right up the middle. And what's Lamar want to do? If he gets to the outside, you ain't catching him. I mean, you're not going to catch him. So why would you? I just didn't understand the call of a Greg Williams type. Let's send the house right up the middle and and our defensive line isn't fast enough to contain him really either. I know we were like, hey, we'll just play contain like against Deshaun Watson. Well, that doesn't work against Lamar because he can run 15 yards back and still get outside of you if he really wanted to. So I think in him, you got to try to, like we said, force him to stay in the pocket, make him try to go up the middle, and let somebody get a hit on him. Because outside he's going to scramble and then he'll just duck out of bounds for a 15-yard gain. So I think he was going to get that first down. But yeah, you can't give up 6.
No, and I know our secondary is terrible. We kept playing. We'd be out there in cover 0. For anybody who doesn't know what cover 0 is, that's man-to-man with no safety help.
Right.
Hey, newsflash, we can't cover anybody when they got help.
Everybody's got help.
Yeah, so we're going to put them on an island, and then when we're playing man-to-man against these guys, they got to turn and run with the receiver, no eyes on the quarterback. Their best player is their quarterback, and we're playing our defense with no eyes on him. I don't understand it.
So coming on that last drive when the Ravens are driving down to get the field goal, easiest game-winning drive to get into field goal range I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I was just thinking to myself as I was watching the game with my wife, and I was like, well, we're going to need a penalty to back them up here on this first down if we're going to have a chance, because they're getting a first down every 2 plays regardless.
Yep.
And to be honest, on some of the drives where we stopped them, that's where we got their penalties, and we were like, okay, well, instead of it being 1st and 10, it's 1st and 20. All right, we held them to a 2-yard run finally. So so they had to pass. Those are the series where they had to pass, and we were able to get off the field.
Yeah, and the worrying part about it is it's not like they have a dominant receiver out there just making us look silly. I mean, their receiving core is pretty pathetic.
Mark Andrews is a dog. He's legit.
There's your tight end. I get that, but I mean, what? Okay, so what do the Browns do against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams? Okay.
Hey, we don't even got to talk about that. We ain't got time for that.
It'll be in the Super Bowl if that happens, so whatever.
Yeah. We'll be excited regardless.
Yeah.
If that is the case, I'm down. But
I know what you're saying. But
I get it, yeah.
The defense, so I think, I had some people texting me, we need to fire Joe Woods today. To me, that's old school Cleveland thinking where you make a knee-jerk reaction after one game. And, we're 9-4. We're probably, unless the sky falls, we're going to make the playoffs. Let's evaluate in the offseason.
I agree with what you're saying is that's a Cleveland knee-jerk move, but this isn't one game of this, man. This isn't one game.
When you're 9-4, you don't make coaching changes in the middle.
No, because like when Oakland did that last week, that was a bad look.
It's a bad look,
and they're downhill now. They're done.
They're not making the playoffs.
You're not going to attract good coaching talent if you're firing coaches mid-season. A defensive coordinator who's playing with practice squad players in the secondary,
right?
So evaluate in the offseason. Now in the offseason, we come out and evaluate, and they fire him. Whatever.
Oh, and you gotta bring somebody else in. It's got to be somebody from the outside.
Yep.
Yes.
I think so. I think that you're best to wait, because I don't think that there's anybody on the defensive staff that you're gonna bring up that you're thinking's like, oh, this guy, we can get his voice and it's gonna change things, type of a thing. I think that if anything, it might even get worse. That now you got somebody trying to change something at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's our guys already don't know what to do. That's not not making it
complicated.
You're gonna have to get somebody from somewhere else,
and
somebody who wants. And I don't know who it's. I don't know who it's gonna be.
I don't know, but I tell you who I do trust, and it's Stefanski.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because now Stefanski comes in, he's this offensive-minded guy, right? So he's like, look, this is where I'm focusing, and defense is not my strength. That's not my priority. I'm going to hire somebody to put in that position. Okay, get somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wrong choice.
Yeah.
One strike.
Hey, and I'll give you 10 of them. I'll give you as many strikes as it counts on defense because
as long as we're scoring 40 a game.
Absolutely, the offense is there. Well,
I was just gonna say what we can get into it with the good.
Before we get into the good here, I know some people are out there probably screaming, what about the missed field goals? I know in my personal opinion, I don't put this game. I said 99% on the defense, 1% on Cody Parkey. He left 4 points on the board. I need him to make a kick. Okay, I'm not giving him a pass for making the kicks, but we had Austin Seibert at the beginning of the year, and he was awful. And Cody Parkey's come in and solidified a position that we were extremely nervous about. He just picked the worst time to have a bad game. That being said, we still scored 42 points and should win a football game when you score 42 points.
That's the point. I think that's the key point. So without that last minute, buffoonery, we lost by 3 and he left 4 points on the board. I get that. Why did it come down to that? Like you said, 42 points.
Right.
How did we lose? It was our defense. It wasn't the kicker. It was the defense.
Yeah, if we lose this game 11-7, maybe we can talk about these missed kicks.
Well, maybe he missed 3 kicks in a game. Yeah, we lost by 11-7 or whatever. But
we scored 42 points. We should have still won this game even with those missed kicks.
And if it was a pattern too, like it's not like he's like out here missing 2-3 kicks every game. Like this was the first game where it was like
No, and then down the stretch though, whenever we needed the extra points to
He made
stay
them.
stay within 7
4
or
for
8
5.
to stay in
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
score range. He
Yes.
made them.
Yeah, he
But,
shook
hey,
it off.
hey,
And that
I'm
was
not-
after he missed the 2. So
Now I was on the edge of my seat, like just
Yes.
thinking, please
That
make
last
this,
one?
please make this, please
Absolutely.
make
I
this.
like that it
Yeah.
didn't get in his head. He was able, he still went out there and was able. Sometimes you see kickers, you miss one, and it's an avalanche.
I was going to say that's not a bad transition to the good, because I feel like last night there was a lot of how do we respond, how do we overcome,
Yeah, but just one more thing on the whole kicker situation. Wouldn't it be nice to have a Justin Tucker though?
Oh, man.
Where you're
Yeah,
just
but there's
know, like,
31
hey,
teams in
you're
the league saying
you're
that.
on the field, you're in range.
I'm going to say this, by the Browns, we missed kicks. The Browns aren't the only team that have a kicker. If you look around the league,
Oh, it's
kicking has gotten bad.
yes.
I feel like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, if you were on your side of the 50, you lined up to kick the field goal, and it was automatic. Nobody was missing field goals. And now,
Okay, so
it's unbelievable how many missed field goals and extra points I
psychologically,
see.
how much do you think that has to do with the fact that the extra point is moved back, so those are getting missed a little more frequently? And
Yeah, I
once
think it
those
gets in your
gets
sight.
missed,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets in
It
your
gets
psyche.
in your head. You're thinking, man, don't want to miss another one. And then you just
Or you
it's not
missing-
and it's not an easy thing to do. Kicking field goals is very difficult.
Yes.
And taking in the wind factor and having to push the ball out this far for it to come back in.
And the D linemen are 6'5", putting their hands up.
Yeah. So and a lot of the Justin Tucker, he's so good because he can kick the ball so high. We blocked a kick last night. I don't know the last time somebody blocked one of his kicks. Because he takes that element out because he kicks it out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Because that's how and like Parky, if you're watching Parky's extra points, you're looking, they're like middle of your TV screen. When you see Justin
Right.
Justin Tucker kicks his, it's out of the screen.
You're like, well, I guess it went through.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, he's that much more talented when it comes to that, and he gets paid that way too. Parky's not making big bucks to be a kicker. He didn't have a job coming into this year.
He was the best Bueller's bag guy they had.
Yeah, so I'm not putting this on
He
Parky.
excelled at it.
Yeah, I'm not putting this on Parky. He's been great all year long. It just was the big spot. It's one of the things you glare to when you're thinking about this game. Okay, what went wrong? And we just went through a whole segment. We didn't mention the Baker pick.
Well, and I got one more too. Do you want to go on the Baker pick? I'm not even that upset about the Baker pick.
One,
I really
It was
I
a
wasn't-
crazy good play by that defensive end.
I wasn't upset with it either, other than the fact that it was almost predetermined that was what Baker was going to do with the ball, kind of in his press conference. That was the only thing that kind of like, what do you mean? I got to know that guy's going there. And Stefanski was like, oh, that one's on me. Well, you didn't throw the pass, so it can't be on you.
If you look,
all right?
I mean, that guy made
It was an awesome play, one-handed,
by a defensive end who's running backwards to jump and spin.
But that's what that guy does too.
I think
Bowser,
you could-
he's one of the best, defensive linemen at doing that, dropping back into coverage.
I think you could
Crazy
tell
good play.
that Baker thought this was kind of his gunslinger mentality, where he was like, I see this guy running backwards, but it's almost like when you're playing basketball and like the guy's not looking, you can throw it right past his head.
And he turns his head
And
at
he
the
turns
last
his head
second.
and gets the steal. It was like he's like, I can whip it past this guy. There's no way he's gonna make this play.
And he was feeling himself. He was
Absolutely.
he was riding a hot arm.
And then the dude, because if that guy's not there, it's a great pass. It was on the money, on a line, on a rope.
Yep.
And the guy made a crazy play. I'm not going to nitpick a Baker pick, his first one in 5 games.
Right.
Right.
A game in which he threw for 353 yards and just kept
Right.
bringing
Well,
us
just
back.
my point in that was look at where Baker's come. I mean, we
Yes.
would have lit him up for that, or having that type
yeah.
of
Well,
play.
and it's because
Look how he's grown.
It's
and
because of
just-
what happened after the play.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Okay, so they came. They got the pick. They scored. Baker's back on the field.
We talked about it. We literally said that when they walked that, what was it, Dobbins walks that in. Even last year we would have said,
All game.
we're losing by 4, 5, 6 touchdowns. They are gonna absolutely dominate us. And all he did was just put Cleveland on his back and say, hey, let's
and
go.
you got to give Stefanski the credit too, because
Yes.
last year Freddie would have been, now we got to go do some behind the back trickery down the field, bomb.
Let's lateral it 4 times. And then
Stefanski didn't even blink. He said,
Nope.
all right, get back out there and we're going to go down the field again.
Right.
And it was methodical.
Yep.
And it was executed so well.
I love when we have do a Jarvis Landry pass like we did on the opening drive for us, and Freddie's probably home like, man, I had that in the playbook last year.
I didn't get the ball.
There's such a huge difference, though, between I feel like when we do it, there's a purpose and it's schemed,
Right,
and
right.
you can tell we've thought about it. We
Freddie
saw something
created it before the game.
Right, he was sitting in his office, Sunday morning, and he's like, it'd be cool. What if Jarvis ended up with the ball? And
Baker,
threw it?
give me your play sheet there on your wristband.
Yeah.
We got to add one too.
Yeah, in crayon.
Yeah. I do have one other bad thing, and it technically didn't really affect anything, but man, fumbles. My
it's going to
goodness. If they recover one of those 7 fumbles, it's a different game.
Wait,
7 fumbles.
we had 7?
7 fumbles.
Oh, I guess we had, 3 on the first
3
drive?
on Higgins, 2 on Landry, Baker had 1, and Kareem had 1. We had 7 fumbles,
my
and we recovered all of them.
That's insane.
The one that Landry recovered, he was
Unreal.
the only Brown
I
in
was
the
terrified.
area. There
I
was
said we
3 or
lost
4
it.
Ravens. I'm
Yep.
like,
And he
how did-
actually only had his hand on it, and one of the Ravens players jumped on it, and it kind of pushed it back
Yeah,
into him.
and they came out with the ball, and I'm like, oh, man. Yep. So that's all I wanted to say with that. We got to
that's a very good point. Fumbles, I mean, man, got to hold on the ball, guys.
Yes.
Well, let's transition into the positive that's in this show on a high note.
Okay.
Kevin Stefanski's a freaking genius.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only way to say it. And I'm gonna say it every episode until he wins Coach of the Year. If he isn't Coach of the Year, it's a joke. Because
I think that there's a few other guys.
I'm sorry, but
we're a little biased here. Obviously, I want him to win Coach of the Year.
if he
But
wins
the Bills
11
are
games,
Bills are doing some pretty good things.
they were good last year.
yeah, that's the thing. If he comes into Cleveland first year, no preseason, none of that stuff, and he wins 11 games,
I think
with
he's
the Browns,
got to win out to get it. If Buffalo wins out, I think McDermott will get it.
That's unbelievable to me that you're going to get Coach
If the
of the Year.
Steelers win out, I could still see Mike Tomlin getting it.
I don't understand how a team can come in with the expectation to win a lot of games and make the playoffs, and when they do that, it's Coach of the Year. All you did was do what you were supposed to do.
I completely get both sides of it. I completely get what because I've said the same thing, especially before even the Steelers started losing. I'm like, man, Tomlin just keeps doing it, and just because it's almost like a good basketball player like LeBron. Oh, what if he makes the playoffs, then he doesn't deserve to be MVP?
Right. Well, but if you're going to talk about
he averages 30 and a triple-double a game.
So if you're going to talk about Tomlin doing it, though, then what about Andy Reid? I mean, they're 11-1, right?
No,
12-1 or
and
whatever.
he absolutely should be in the conversation.
I mean, they're the 1 seed.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'm not saying Stefanski. I want Stefanski to win.
Me too.
Obviously, I think that he
feel
deserves
like-
it too. But
Yes.
there are other coaches out there that are.
It's not a slam dunk.
I
It's not a
think
slam dunk.
any argument against Kevin Stefanski is
Craziness.
it's ludicrous.
To think though
This
that
team was, first of all, 6-10 and the laughing stock of the league last year. We were 6-10 and we were lucky to be 6-10. He has completely turned this team around. We were freaking 1-31 3 years ago.
right, I'm just
not to
saying that
mention
if a Steelers team goes 14-2 with no running game, that's a pretty good coaching job.
Or maybe it's bad coaching that they don't have a running game and they're going to go one and done in the playoffs. So don't get me started on that.
To your point, he absolutely is deserving because he completely reinvented the culture of that team.
Exactly. And
I get what you're saying. I'm not arguing with you, but I do get what Zach's saying. There are other guys. It's not a slam dunk.
In my opinion, those Kevin Stefanski's up here, and those other guys are a tier
I would
below
say
in this
right
discussion.
now, I would tell you right now that if it was done today, McDermott would win. 100%. I think McDermott would win if it was done right now.
Which is just
They're everybody's
insane.
top team in the NFL right now. They were not the top team in the NFL
But they were a good team. They weren't in shambles. They weren't the laughing stock. They didn't go 0-16 3 years ago.
I understand that.
They
I'm
didn't
just
fire
saying.
their GM and their head coach and their entire coaching staff in the offseason.
And have a parade.
To be honest with you, I think the thing that hurt Stefanski, and it's not a knock on him. There's no. I mean, he's in his first year, but I think it's the defense will hold him down compared to some of those other teams. Tomlin gets benefited because he's got a great defense, so his team's going to look great. He doesn't have to worry about that aspect.
I mean, we're going to win 11 games.
Hopefully 12. I told you, if he wins 12, he's got a great shot. He's got to beat Tomlin.
Let me throw some of these other names too. What about Brian Flores? Does he not get any kind of love in that
I think
conversation?
he gets consideration.
I think he's one of the only guys that you can, if you made an argument for him, I would listen without telling you that you're an idiot.
Okay.
See, so that's the
Washington's
only
doing
thing.
some nice
I don't
things,
think
but their
taking
record's
a
not that
team
great.
that was like not great and then like they did a good job, like
Yeah.
is warranted that they automatically.
In
are
my opinion,
your
Brian
coach of the year.
Flores could have been coach of the year last year
Right.
because that team was.
I don't even know who coach of the year last year
That team was supposed to be tanking last year, and they fought and they played
So
much better than they were supposed to last year.
Okay, so if you're using that, Ron Rivera should be up for coach of the year.
That's what I'm saying. The record's not there, but I mean, what he's done.
Right.
No, I agree. He could be up for coach
But
of the year.
it'll be interesting. But
Yeah.
okay, let's get off
So-
coach of the year. Let's get back. Come on.
Anyways,
don't
why
wanna be here all night.
I say Stefanski's a genius. He knows the strength of that Ravens defense is their corners. You know, Humphrey and Peters are great. So what does he do? Kareem Hunt's our leading receiver. All he does is scheme him up, put him on linebackers all game, and he just ate them alive.
Yep.
That is something Freddie never did that. Oh, your corners are your strong suit? Well, we're going to go one-on-one against them all game, and we're going to make Baker throw into tight windows.
Yeah, our O-line is our weakness. We're going to, 5-second drops
Yep.
or whatever.
What we did though, I agree. Those two corners are great. But Devontae Harris, their
They
one corner,
focused
number
on him.
33,
They
they
focused.
picked on him all
All
night.
night. Yep.
All night.
Yep.
And the announcers kept like,
Yep.
they're going to go to him again. They're like, he's press coveraging. They're going to go over the top. He's sagging off. They're just keep throwing it. And they did time
And
after time
that
after
is
time.
good coaching. That is
Exactly.
good quarterbacking. I mean,
That's good coaching during the week. They saw that on film, and Stefanski's telling Baker, listen, this is the weak guy. We're going to pick on this guy. So, and he's in Baker's ear in the helmet.
Yeah.
Hey, if we come out in this
33's
formation
on the field again.
Yeah, you see this guy out there, just look that way first.
he's probably showing him that replay of the Minka Fitzpatrick interception every single day of the week and just saying, remember this play? Quit throwing it to their good players.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and it happened. Okay, so he ended up getting hurt, and they brought in a backup safety to play in the nickel as a cornerback. And first play was on the field, went right at him. That's who they attacked.
Yep.
So I like that those things, that we're seeing.
We're playing smart football.
Right.
At least on the offensive side.
And aware of what's going on.
And go ahead.
So, and I was just going to throw out a couple stats here for you guys that are kind of crazy. Okay, Browns not one drive leading in this football game, not one. Ravens had 4. Time of possession leading, obviously Browns 0. Ravens for 7 minutes and 40 seconds they were up in this game, which doesn't seem like a long time, but in a game like this, I mean, they didn't have to deal with, okay, well, now we got to come back down like the Browns did. 8 drives trailing. That's how many drives that we had that we were trailing. I think if we go back and I look at the stats, let me check out this team stats here. We had a total of 12 drives. So 8 of our 12 drives we were losing in the football game.
If you would have told me
Thanks,
3 weeks
defense.
ago, I would have had to sell that game. Like, if I would have had to tell that story to him, be like, listen, we're going to play Baltimore, and Baker's just going to have to keep bringing them back every drive. He would have been like,
Yeah, right.
That's
we're
not
going
happening.
after
Trade him.
Carson Wentz.
Trade him
We're
for
getting-
Minshew.
Yeah, we
Here's-
want Wentz. We
So,
want Wentz right now.
Baker threw the ball 47 times. I don't love that we had to throw the ball 47 times. That's on the defense, though, because we kept having to, claw our
situational.
way back into it. But in games past, if Baker threw the ball 47 times against the Ravens, he would have 4 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He,
absolutely.
he would have thrown the ball. He would have been 18 of 47 for 160 yards and 3 interceptions. Instead, he threw for 350 yards and had 3 touchdowns. So just the growth of Baker Mayfield, even over the last 2 weeks, has been amazing to me.
Yep.
He's not making that mistake. 1 pick in the last 6 games, 5 games,
6 now, I think.
6.
I think.
Not since the Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
So he is, man, I'm so happy. I feel better about, again, I have less questions about Baker Day than I did after Jacksonville, and we lost last night.
Baker's got his swag, and it's awesome.
Yep,
I
it's
mean,
full go.
watching him play out there, I mean, you see him coming into the huddle sometimes, it's like he'll be like laughing, like smiling, because he just knows. I don't know what's going on the field, but I see that, the camera will catch that, and he comes in, he's just like smiling, laughing, talking to the guys, giving out the play. Like he knows, all right, we got him right here.
Yep.
Or something, like he's just got that confidence. And Stefanski and him, it seems to be clicking,
I couldn't be more happy with the way that's going. A couple guys I do want to shout out. I thought Peoples-Jones played another good game.
Yes.
Very
And
good
I love,
game.
he was, it's hard for me to say this about a Michigan person, but he's a Cleveland Brown now, and he was John, I think it was with Humphrey,
Yeah.
kind of getting in his face, and then he comes out and makes plays. I'm like,
He needed one more big catch for that 100-yard game.
Yeah,
He got 74 yards.
Hey, he's gonna get that. I think he's flirting with it a little.
tell you
I mean,
what,
they're probably going to call a timeout after he doesn't announce it over the PA system.
First time
And
since high school.
congratulations.
It's like that high school basketball player scores his
2,000 point.
Yeah, they stopped the game, call timeout.
But so I thought he was solid. Obviously, Higgins, after he quit fumbling, was super solid. I thought both our tight ends played well. Coming into this game, I didn't even realize Hooper was out.
Yeah, I didn't
neck
either.
injury on Thursday.
Yeah, and then, I thought Njoku played well, not only catching the ball, but I saw him blocking
Yes.
a couple times. I thought he played well. Harrison Bryant didn't have any fumbles.
He made some and Njoku made some great catches.
Absolutely. I said I swear Blake tweeted him, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's
Good
been
old,
about
your buddy,
it.
good old Chief there.
Yeah, Chief has been about it.
You're welcome, Browns fans.
Yes,
I
swear.
love that Blake's gone down the list of receivers. This guy had some good catches, some good yards. Harrison Bryant didn't fumble.
Yeah, which we had all
That's
those
what
fumbles.
constitutes a good game.
Yeah, all those fumbles we talked about, and Harrison Bryant wasn't listed.
Yeah, and he was going into it. He was the guy that we had all the questions about. Like, oh man, can he hold on to the ball?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jarvis every week is just
Number one.
Seems like a number one guy, right?
tough.
Yeah.
He's such a great number one.
Number
wide
one
receiver.
guy. I completely agree.
So
with
notice
you
all
guys.
those-
Yeah.
you notice
So
all
number
those-
one that he
number
got.
one.
You
So
notice all
number one,
these-
he didn't have. He had less yards than our running back.
Notice,
last night.
notice.
They were
Hunt,
big
you
plays.
named out Hunt, Peoples, Jones, Higgins, Landry. No Odell Beckham on that whole list of a great game that we played on offense.
Well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I'm just saying that
So we're gonna hold it against
We
people?
can be great without Odell.
What do
that
you
was
want him
my
to do?
argument.
Get
We
up.
can be great
Just-
without Odell.
for the listeners out there. This is about to get rough.
Yeah, we
we
can
don't-
be
we're
great
not
without
doing
Odell.
that.
We don't
we're not
have
doing
time
it.
to get
We
into
don't
that.
have- Yeah.
Is this will be a nice little off season?
This is going to be when
Yeah. We
could do an
we're
hour show.
quarantined and we're all sitting in our basements again, and we
Yeah.
can argue about it for 25 minutes or something.
Right. There's
So-
a vaccine out now, Justin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, that was the offense. That was the good. I think we all feel, despite the loss against the Ravens, we're all pretty confident going forward. I said this. I think we're winning out. I'm just going to say it right
Pittsburgh
now.
looks like the team that can be beat now.
Yeah, because
by us.
I'm not worried about their offense.
Not like
at
the
all.
Ravens, no.
Nope. And they don't have anybody dangerous on that offense.
Now they
that-
have receivers.
Yes, that don't catch the ball that often. And I think we're going to be able to sack their quarterback because he's not mobile. If you look what's been giving us some fits lately, we've played Tannehill, Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Watson didn't give us really fits, but he's mobile. We've played some very mobile guys the last month.
Well, and Ben is old
Yes.
in the NFL. What is he, 38, 39, something like that? I mean, now you're seeing the impact of 14, 15 weeks of football, of games catching up to him. It's
And
not
their bye week was like week 3.
Right,
So
right,
they're-
good point, yeah.
Those guys are
so
beat up.
the arm strength, he came out at the beginning of the season. It's like, oh, Ben looks good, but he's not going to stay good the whole year because the body just can't. He just can't do it like he used to when he was young.
So I think the Browns are winning out. I think we're going 12-4. I'm putting my stamp on that right now. I'll be picking the Browns next 3 games.
Man, I hope you're right.
Me too.
I think that the next 2 that we got coming up, we should win. But it's almost like kind of another primetime game, Sunday night, okay, against the Giants. I'm not worried that we might lose this game. I'm worried that it might be closer than what the game should be.
I agree with that.
No,
completely.
so we'll just move into the preview here for the Giants. I think because of how bad our offense is, this game's going to be closer than it should be. Again, they have in
Our
their
defense.
defense.
Yeah, defense.
Our defense. Their defense is good.
You
So-
apologize to our offense right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
don't you talk about them like
Do
that.
I think we're going to be able? I want to say, do I think we're going to be able to do whatever we want on offense? Maybe not, but we just did against a good defense. So, whose defense is better, the Giants or the Ravens? Or are they at least similar?
Ravens defense, I don't know. Now, Giants defense is rolling. I know they got beat by Arizona this week, but before that, they had won 4 straight. I think coming into that game,
I don't know who they had played in the
4 straight. They beat the Washington
Russell.
football team.
Doesn't have an offense.
They beat the great Philadelphia Eagles.
no offense.
Seattle
beat the
Seahawks.
Bengals, and the Seahawks was a big win. They held the Seahawks to 12 points.
That's the big thing. But the Seahawks also have been floundering. That's a good
Yeah,
use of the
Russell
word
Wilson,
floundering.
everybody's MVP through 3-4 weeks of the year,
And then just fell
He's
off
not
a
even
cliff.
in the conversation.
And when they played Bengals, it was without Burrow, right?
Yes, it would have been without Burrow.
3 of those 4, the Redskins, they're playing well, but they don't have a prolific offense. The Eagles with Wentz, that's the worst offense I've ever seen. And then they played the Bengals without Burrow. So yes, their defense is physical and tenacious, but they haven't seen an offense like ours in a while, and they just did, and they got beat. And I think the Browns' offense is better than the Cardinals' offense.
I mean, they're giving up 363 yards a game. Now, that's a little bit skewed because they were really bad at the beginning of the year. They've kind of turned it on late. I just look at this game as being, we just came off a really competitive,
emotional
loss, okay? But we're taking a lot of good things away from it, even though we lost. Now you go into this game, you had this game kind of circled as, we should win this game on the calendar, and now it's, hey, Browns haven't been in this position, right? Win these football games, you're in the playoffs.
Yep.
We haven't been here before, at this point in the season where we're like, hey, we just take care of business. We're in. Everybody here. Browns are in. Browns are a playoff team. Well, hey, we haven't been, so let's not write us in, and like we're there yet. If we need to win this one.
True, but there is somebody who has been in this position before, and that's head coach.
That's true.
With Minnesota.
So I don't think he'll let us read our own newspaper clippings. He's not going to let the players look at, the Ravens loss as a moral victory. We can sit here and talk about how much we like, but that's an L for them. They're professional football players, so they're not going to take moral victories. Giants do have a decent run game. Wayne Gallman has been out there running the ball well. Yeah. They have weapons on the outside. Sterling Shepard, Ingram,
Slayton.
Yeah.
They got some weapons, which does scare me because we don't have a secondary. But Danny Dimes rarely has a game where he doesn't turn the ball over.
Right. We just got to hit him in the pocket and fumble.
Yeah. Yep. So that doesn't bode well for them. And we got Myles Garrett coming at him, and Olivier Vernon's been playing well. And I just look for our offense to do what we do, take care of the ball. Let's get back to the run game if possible. Let's not be down this game where Baker has to throw 47 times, because even though he played awesome, I don't want him throwing the ball 47 times.
Yep. I agree.
So
Daniel Jones had 3 more fumbles on Sunday.
Yeah. Now, Jones is playing hurt, too.
Yes.
He's got that.
There's a chance he might not even play. I guess they said he didn't even look that good. Like, he looked very immobile. So, they might throw him out there, but...
See, yeah, the report here.
The guy's fumbled 20 times in his career.
Unreal.
As a quarterback.
Oh, and he just started playing last year, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's only averaging 10 fumbles a year.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw, if this was a few games ago, it was the first game in his career he played without a fumble.
Well, good for him. Everybody deserves that.
Milestones.
And we have Myles Garrett.
I don't know how
He's great at the strip sack.
He's got Jason Garrett on his staff. He's got Freddie Kitchens on his staff. So you think ball security would be awesome.
Yeah.
And scheming. You figure they'd just write some plays up for him and get, guys wide open. But
yeah, so I look for this is a game we should win.
I agreed.
But I think it might end up being closer than we want it to be, just because supposedly they have a good defense. I guess we'll find out. Like I said, when their defense was playing really well, they were playing against some crap offenses. They just played against the Cardinals and got lit up. So we'll see how good that defense really is. But I know how bad our defense is. And we made Mike Glennon look good. So we can make anybody look good.
I want to kind of get back to just let's pound the football if we can.
Control the clock.
And just, big Nick Chubb game, kind of like a Derrick Henry just had, where it was like you ain't stopping him and he just ran all over, playoff King Henry type of a thing. Like, let's get the ball to Chubb, let him just work and not have to worry about this game.
Yep. Let's get on. Let's just win this game. Let's take care of business. Let's get Kareem Hunt involved again. We kind of talked about it. I freaking love Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
I love Nick Chubb, but I also love Kareem Hunt. The way he runs the ball is so physical. I love watching him just lower his shoulder into safeties and deliver a blow.
For as physical as Nick Chubb can be, though, Nick Chubb is a lot more. He's got finesse in this game, because I was watching a lot of those, replays and stuff last night where, I love the angles from behind the line of scrimmage, like from the offensive point of view. And he'll just kind of step into a gap, do a little shake and bake, one way or the other, and just kind of wait, almost like that Le'Veon Bell type of running style, where he just kind of gets into an area, kind of shifts a little bit, and then, there's another opening, and he just bursts through. And he's very good at that.
Yes.
That Pittsburgh Le'Veon Bell, where he'd just hang out in the back and just wait.
Never seen anybody run the ball like Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, my God.
But Chubb's kind of doing some of that.
Pittsburgh.
Should have never left.
Great for us, because now they can't run the ball.
Right. So we'll see how this game goes. Let's force Danny Dimes into some turnovers. Let's not let him get to the ball, to the weapons on the perimeter, because we don't have anybody out there to stop him. I'm looking for a big D-line performance here. You know, we need Olivier Vernon. We need Myles Garrett. We need those guys to get home, stop the run game. Don't let Wayne Gallman get going. Make them one-dimensional. That way, you know, they'll probably throw for 450 yards against us when we do that, but whatever. You know, so and let's make some adjustments. You know, if we're getting killed one way doing something on defense, I'd love for us to come out at halftime and be like, hey, look, they made a good halftime adjustment. As much as I love this Browns team, I feel we haven't been the best at making adjustments at times. So at least on one side of the ball. So I'm looking for those kinds of things. But I do think that it should be a win. And we'll get into our picks, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the Giants because I don't respect them.
They're the Giants.
They hired Freddie Kitchens.
Just gotta take care of business these next 2 weeks.
Yes. Yep.
Go into Pittsburgh, you know, where that game, you know, you're talking about playoff seeding. That's what I want. I want us to get to that game, and that's what we're talking about, that we've already clinched. We're in. Now, who are we playing?
I want to win these next 2 games. That way, going into that Pittsburgh game, not saying it doesn't matter, but no matter what happens, we've solidified 11 wins.
Well, that and get healthy. If that game only means minor things, and it means somebody, Myles Garrett, who's got the elbow injury, they missed some time, and he's questionable for this week, gets healthy by then, you know, just using that scenario. It'd be nice to not have to worry about, well, we got to beat Pittsburgh without Myles this week.
Yeah, I agree. So you got to take care of – you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, you know, and then hopefully you can pull out some of the toss-up games. Yeah. So this is what we got to do.
Well, and I was just going to say real quick, the other really great thing about last night I forgot to mention is we lost to the Ravens. Second time we've lost to them this year. We're still in second place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's great.
I think there's going to be 3 teams from the AFC North with 11 wins. I think all 3 are going to make the playoffs.
Well, going with the Ravens, you think they had to win that game?
Oh, that was bigger game.
Browns. Did we want to win that game? Yes.
But we didn't have to. That's crazy.
That win against the Titans meant we didn't have to win that game.
Yep.
That's how big that Titans win was. And now everybody's back on the Derrick Henry. Everybody forgets the Browns just
held them to 60 yards.
Yeah, took the Titans to the woodshed in that game. Yeah. So everybody forgets that. It's crazy.
We beat them like a redheaded stepchild.
Right.
All right. So we'll move into our game picks. We'll fly through these here really quick so we can get out of here.
All right.
So let's do your job here, Zach.
So I wasn't here last week, but we had good records across the board. Josh, myself, and Blake all went 12-4. Justin 11-5. The Washington football team let you down.
Well, you know, hey, somebody had to.
Yeah.
It wasn't
the 49ers.
Browns.
49ers couldn't hold on. The football team won for us other 3. That was the difference. Okay, so Thursday night we got Justin Herbert taking on Derek Carr and the Raiders. Raiders got to win out if they want a chance, and they need help. So, you know, they're coming in this game. They need to win. Chargers, they're just coming in, developing Herbert and mixing in some Austin Eckler.
I'm going to take Oakland because I think they
Oakland? Who's Oakland?
Oh, not Oakland. Las Vegas. Sorry.
I didn't even
Raiders.
think about it.
Thank you.
I was like, what?
That's bad.
I did that last week.
I've been called people out on that too. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I did see Ruggs is not going to play probably. He went on the list today. The COVID list. So
what will they do without his 2 catches?
I don't know, but I will take Las Vegas.
I'm taking the Chargers in this game because of the reason we kind of talked about firing your defensive coach, and you're going up against an offense that's got some weapons everywhere. Yep. So I'm taking the young. I'm a Herbert fan.
Me too.
Me too.
I'm taking him on Thursday night.
Yes, give me the Chargers.
Okay, we have a split.
All right, so that takes us in. We got 2 Saturday night games. So we got Saturday night Buffalo Bills, one of the hottest teams in football, versus the Denver Broncos. Bills, they're right there. Everybody's got them, neck and neck with the Chiefs, are best team in the NFL right now.
Zach, who did you pick to win the East?
I definitely picked the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
I did not pick the New England
Yes,
Patriots.
you did. I just want to give you a little bit of glory.
Thank you for reminding all of our fans at home watching.
I just want to give you your bit of glory because
Blake would have been better picking the Dolphins than that.
Yeah, no kidding.
In our defense, people have been saying that the Patriots were going to decline for the last 10 years.
And they
had.
never do. Yeah.
So
And they still really haven't.
So I
No,
just
they're
wanted
right
to
there.
see.
Bill Belichick's doing some great things with what he's got.
Yeah, maybe he should be coach of the year. So,
Yep.
yeah. So I don't think it's bad of us to say we wanted to see them be bad before we picked them.
Right.
against
So
them.
I'm taking the Bills in this game
Also.
against Denver.
Also,
Bills.
Yep.
Bills across the board.
Although Drew Lock just played one of his best games.
Yep, and that's the last one you're going to see too.
Okay, so that'll move us into our second Saturday game. Got the Panthers. I did just see that McCaffrey not expected to play
Yep.
against Green Bay.
Correct.
I'm going to take Green Bay.
It doesn't matter. Packers.
I agree. Packers.
I need that Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams connection in my fantasy. I take on Josh
wish
I
in the playoffs. So.
Yep, me and Zach head to head this week, and you've got Rodgers and Adams.
Right,
I've
so-
been dreading this for a while.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up. It's going to be okay.
So, okay, we're moving to Sunday's games. 49ers at Dallas.
Ugh, this is a stink fest.
I don't think it is. I think I'm going to take 49ers.
Oh, I'll
go with
definitely take the
49ers.
49ers.
Yes, I'm taking the 49ers as well. Please, Raheem Mostert, have a big game.
Kyle Shanahan run offense against the worst run defense of all
Yes,
time.
yes.
I could probably go out and rush for 100 yards in this game.
Well,
And
I'm-
somehow
I'd like to see it.
McCarthy's back next year. He's
Yeah,
back. Steven
I saw
Jones
that.
came out. McCarthy will be back.
We'll right the ship quickly.
Got to say that though. I think right now, dude, when the Cowboys go up against the Bengals and Zeke still can't get going, they have no run game still.
I'm not
That's
going to
bad.
lie. I have Zeke, and I'm in fantasy playoffs,
Play-
and I'm
you
not
bench
playing
him?
him.
He's on
this
my
week.
bench.
I'm
Yeah.
benching him.
He's on my-
which is
he was on my bench last week.
crazy.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. All right. Big game here. I think this is a closer game. And if you'd have told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd have said you're nuts. Seattle at Washington football team.
Man.
I would, if you'd have said that week 3, 4, I'd have been like, get out of here.
That front seven
and then,
for Washington's
and then
playing real
Dwayne
good.
Haskins got
Chase
benched.
Young.
But Haskins didn't play bad when he came in the minor role.
They said he looked terrible.
He didn't play bad. He didn't lose him the game.
He did against
But
the
they didn't have
Cleveland
to ask him
Browns.
to win the game. Put him that way.
Man,
I'm going Seattle, even though it's at Washington. I think that they're due to have a good game. They just blew out who they played this.
The Jets.
The Jets. They blew them out. But I think that they're due to beat a good football team.
I kind of want to take Washington.
At
I kind of
home?
want to take Chase Young.
Do it.
I'm going to go
All
Washington.
right. Do it.
I picked him last week. I'm going to pick him again this week.
WFT.
Chase
Yeah.
Young is a freaking dude.
Yeah, he is.
They said
And
when he
Montez
picked that
Sweat.
ball up and started running down the field, it said it looked like a receiver running.
Browns got lucky maybe in that early matchup that he got hurt.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, because that guy is a monster.
He's
All
going
right.
to be,
So Blake's taking Washington. Justin.
I'm taking Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Josh.
I will take Seattle. I don't think they're going to let the Giants pull one over on them and Washington.
Is Alex Smith playing?
I don't know.
And that's,
I'm not
you know
sure.
what? I've kind of noticed that it's a problem with us picking these games earlier in the week like
too
this because
early.
by
You don't
Friday
know.
or Saturday, you find out some of these quarterbacks or other players,
Right.
aren't playing. It's like,
I'd like to put an asterisk next to this. That I'm picking Washington thinking Alex
If-
Smith is going to play. If he doesn't play, I
want Seattle.
think Seattle wins, definitely.
Okay. Chicago at Minnesota. Bears defense came back to life
Yes, it did.
against
So
Houston.
Mitch Trubisky, they're rallying around their guy.
Hey, all Mitch does is win games. The guy's a winner. Hey, he's a winner, and Chicago hates him.
Minnesota just played Tampa Bay tough, but I don't think Tampa Bay's that good. I think they got
What's
good
your pick? I'm hearing two things here.
I'm taking Chicago.
I'm hearing Chicago.
But I'm
and
also going
Minnesota.
Chicago.
Me too. Yeah, Chicago.
And somebody's going with Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins.
yeah, give me the Vikings.
Okay.
I think Justin
Josh is
Jefferson
trying to
needs
give
a
up second
backup.
place to me.
All right. Okay, big game for Miami. Miami, if you want to be in the playoffs, you're going to have to win out to hold off Baltimore. You got to take on New England at home. Miami's at home. New England at Miami. You get Miami, or you get New England to come in. You know you got to beat them.
I'm taking New England. Look what they did to Herbert.
Yeah. I'm not
Rookie-
taking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Rookie quarterbacks don't beat Bill Belichick. It's just, it doesn't happen.
Until this week, I will take Miami.
I also am going to take Miami.
And I will take Miami as well because even though they might stop Tua, you just got to put some points on the board because
I don't think it's going. I think
I-
Patriots are going to win this game 7-3.
I've seen enough of Cam Newton this year. Cam Newton, I don't think Cam Newton plays in the NFL
And
for this year.
Miami's defense is super, super for real. They are really, really good.
Well, we talked about Baltimore's schedule, so if you want in Miami, you're going to have to win out.
Yep.
Your schedule is extremely tough.
Because Baltimore's winning now.
Oh, yeah.
Next game, Jacksonville at Baltimore. Clean sweep, Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yes.
Okay. Gardner will be back, Blake. So you
Hey,
can
I will
watch him.
never root for Gardner more than I'm rooting this weekend.
Yeah. That'd be so terrible. You pull out a great win, and you're like, all right, we should just win out. Easy schedule, and they get beat by the 1-13 or 12, whatever it is.
I'll tell you what, though,
Chumani
if
would be
somebody's
back.
going to do it, it'd be Gardner.
I'll tell you what, if they win this game, I'm coming in here with a mustache on. Gonna have
Cut off t-shorts,
cut off shorts.
yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
be in full Minshew Mania mode if they pull off this win.
I did not
You
want to
heard
see
it.
that.
You heard it here, fans.
Yeah.
Blake better show up that way. If I mean that. better be
I'll be.
Fans of the Dog Podcast, I can promise you do not want to see Blake in jorts, but
Oh, we'll make him
whatever.
stand up for you
But
too.
we
in
want
the
Baltimore
return.
to
I'll do a little. I'll do the bend and snap.
The only thing snapping is going to be that waistline.
my lower back.
Oh boy. All right, so here we'll move on. Tampa Bay at Atlanta at home. Atlanta plays well at home. Big game. Tampa Bay needs to win. I mean, they aren't sitting pretty either.
They
Tampa
don't look
Bay.
great.
I'll
Yeah.
take. I think Tampa Bay just wins games because they have so much talent. But that's why none of their wins are ever that impressive.
I'm gonna go Tampa Bay as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
All right, Detroit at Tennessee. As bad as Tennessee looked against us, I think they figured out, hey, if we just give the ball to Derrick Henry all the time, early in games, we won't play from behind.
Detroit's not very good, and now there's a chance Stafford doesn't play this
saw
week.
that.
I think Titans, no asterisk.
Yep.
I think
I'll take
Titans is a nice pick anyway, and then you throw in that Detroit doesn't have a quarterback. It's kind of a
Right.
slam dunk.
Okay, Houston at Indy. Little bit of I could see Texans hanging in this game.
Yeah.
They just got blown
That's
out.
what I thought about Chicago.
Yeah, I'm
too.
taking Indy.
I'm taking Indy also.
Indy's playing well.
Let's hear it, Colts fans.
Yep. Just so for the record, that was the first Browns win I ever saw in person against the Colts. Just throwing that back at you, Colts fans.
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts as well. I hate picking that team.
I know you do, brother.
Philly at Arizona. Jalen Hurts looked well,
Yes.
but I'm not sold.
Miles Sanders had a
First
great game.
game,
He had one
first
good
game,
run.
you had no idea what Hurts was going to do in a game with Doug Peterson. Nobody knew what the play calling was going to
Doug
look
Peterson
like.
doesn't know what he's going to do.
So I think Arizona should win this game. So I'm picking the Eagles.
Nice. I want to make a game up on Blake, so I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I'm taking the Cardinals.
Man, I hate the Eagles. They suck. I'll pick them, though. I'll take the Eagles.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow, okay.
They got something rolling here with Hurts. I don't know how great he's going to be long term.
feeling-
The whole team
But right
plays
now-
better.
You're
with
feeling generous? You taking the Jets at the Rams in our next game?
no
Ooh.
Rams.
Ooh. I think that'll be an 0-14 for the Jets. They are so close, man. So close to that number
To
one pick.
joining us
Yeah.
in that legacy.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Oh,
I
man,
see.
Jacksonville's got to be pretty upset they won that week one game.
Yeah.
yeah.
Against the Colts, too. It's just unreal.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so I'll take the Rams clean sweep across the board there.
Yeah.
That's a first half game, by the way.
Fun game here. Kansas City at New Orleans. Possibility of Drew Brees being back, but more, I think they're leaning towards it'll be Taysom Hill again this week.
Chiefs. I know they've been struggling a little bit, but
They
they're the
just
kind
can't
of
score touchdowns and they get in the red zone.
they're the kind of team though that can flip the switch. And Taysom Hill's not scoring against the Chiefs.
No, I'll pick the Chiefs too. I'm just wondering how much their lack of running game is going to affect them down the stretch and in the playoffs.
Who, the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Nothing's.
I'm telling you, I watched that game and I watched Miami pick him off like 3 times and it didn't even matter. It did not. That game ended up being closer, but it wasn't that close. I promise you, I watched that game. It wasn't that close.
What was it last year in the playoffs? They were down, 24 nothing?
against Deshaun Watson.
And they won by like 25 points or something? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm taking Kansas City as well. That moves us to Monday night, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati.
And
If Joe Burrow was playing, this would be a fun game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm taking Pittsburgh, and I don't like. I really think Pittsburgh's declining quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well. But wouldn't surprise me if this is just like an ugly 23-13 13 type of a game.
if that.
Well,
If
they
that.
said Cincinnati, what's his name? Brandon Allen might not even play now.
Yeah, he's
It's
playing well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to take the Steelers, but I don't think it's that close. I think Cincinnati's wildly going to be overwhelmed, even by a not good Pittsburgh team, by
Okay.
our standards.
Josh?
I don't know about a not good Pittsburgh
you know what
team,
I'm
but
saying. Hey, not as good as they
not
were.
as good as we thought they were.
Not what their record really shows right now.
Right.
I feel if they still had Bud Dupree and Bush, I would be like, hey, they don't even need to put an offense out there. They'll be okay.
Yeah, they can just run the same. The defense can play both ways.
Yeah.
Water boy.
So everybody taking Pittsburgh. Josh, you got Pittsburgh. Okay, so we'll circle back up. Who you got? Cleveland at New York on Sunday Night Football. Prime time. Get to see a little Carrie Underwood.
I love Carrie Underwood. I sure love Carrie Underwood. I do love her.
Who's your winning team and what is your score?
I'll start this off. So I've been told that Icebox is not playing for the Giants this week. Nobody picked up on that. Okay.
From the Little
no,
Giants.
trust me, I know.
Thank you. God, I was going to say. Okay. So I will take the Browns, and I'm going to say they're going to put points up. 42-28, Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm saying Browns 27-24.
It's a close game.
Whoa.
I just don't know if we'll stop them.
Wowzers.
After what I just watched from our defense last, I just don't know if we'll stop them.
I'm thinking more Browns like 34-13.
You think we're only gonna give up 13 points?
I do.
Quit trying to talk him out of it.
If we only give up
20?
13 points, I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed if we only give up 13 points.
I'm not far off from you, Josh. I'm going 35-16.
I don't believe in Daniel Jones, especially if he's hobbled.
Did you believe in Mike Glennon?
I sure
I'll
did.
tell you what.
He goes, all of a sudden, Josh is picking the Giants. That's what you just talked about.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
They're going to the Super Bowl.
I hope you're right. I freaking hope you're right. But, man, what I've watched the last 3 weeks.
I think the thing is, this is what I'm kind of projecting the Browns to get up quick, early, kind of like they did against Tennessee. And then when the Giants have to try to come back, that's when I think they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Fumble, interceptions. You know what I mean? And with the way we can hold on to a drive with the running game.
Right. And all we can hope for is, cross our fingers that Freddie Kitchens is going to step in and be like, hey, guys, here's our game plan to win this week.
Hey, guys, this is a revenge
I know
game
this
for
team.
me.
I know this team.
I know this.
Jason
Coached him last year.
Yeah, you don't know
That'll be
squat.
Jason Garrett. Hey, Freddie, draw something up for us.
Hey, Dallas would take
Hey,
Jason
I'll
Garrett
tell you
back in a
what.
If they run
heartbeat
some
right now.
trick-
I tell you what,
score.
if they come out like this in the first quarter, a couple plays in, and they run the triple reverse annexation of Puerto Rico, we're going to know that Freddie had a hand in this.
There's
playbook.
another one right there. There it is. Hey, if you haven't seen Little Giants, check that out. That's a classic.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's our game picks. That's what we think of the Giants. That's what we thought of the Ravens game. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Dawgs, especially if you're watching live. We really appreciate it. Remember to check us out on Twitter, Instagram. If you're watching on Facebook, please share this video. Also, go check out Schwinn Sports, super fun sports group on Facebook that we're all part of. We post a lot of our podcast stuff in that group. Remember to go check out Thrive Fantasy and use promo code DAWGS to get a 100% match on your deposit of $20 or more, all the way up to $50. Play with some free money. Tune back in next week when we recap this Giants game and we preview our win against the Jets. So we'll see y'all next week, everybody.